You've got a great business and you're starting to create videos and you're adding them to YouTube and you ask yourself the question, how do I actually get people to watch them now? I am here with Kevin, who is a content creator specifically on YouTube, and you understand how to make it work. And we're going to unpack this of a lot of the pieces of the puzzle to get videos to work on YouTube. In particular, we're going to look at from a B2B perspective. So not the traditional content creators or B2C, but it's potentially more, can I say it, boring topics? How do you get people to want to watch that stuff? Kevin, I'm going to open with a question. We're just going to jump right in.
Okay.
We're looking at a couple things. Thumbnail, the preview image that people see before they click on it. We're going to look at headlines of the videos, and then also the post copy, the body copy, the description of
Right.
the videos, each of those three different pieces. And we're going to look at a bunch of examples to unpack them. But when we talk about those three things, what what is most important? Is there a order of importance you put those three?
So that is a great question. And instead of headline, let's talk titles, because that's technically, you don't have to be a YouTuber. You don't have to understand everything about YouTube, and I'm talking to the person out there that would be putting videos on YouTube. There's your thumbnail, like you talked about, and then there's the title, and it can be very long, it can be very short, and then there's the description. And you could also add the topic. That the topic is very important. So you could blend all those together. But the reality of it is that your title and your thumbnail can play really almost an equal importance depending on what you're looking for. Typically, unless I'm watching Netflix or Amazon Prime, I don't read the description of a video. I usually go off the title, or I go off the thumbnail, or the combination of it. I may read the description if I'm into it. Completely different if I'm on Netflix and I really don't know what this series is about, or this movie. I may watch it and go, oh, okay, that sounds kind of interesting. You know, which one is more important? I would put more emphasis at first on your title and thumbnail. I think it can go hand in hand. They can complement each other. They can actually work a little in opposite of each other depending on how you do it. And then your description can be important, but the thing I caution folks on, though, it's not a blog post. I've seen too many businesses and creators. It's like you open it and it's like, dude, this isn't the first chapter of your book. This is a description for the video. And if you tell me everything that's in the description that's going to be in the video, why watch it? And YouTube wants to keep you watching. So think of it as like a short paragraph or a couple of sentences that gives me the gist of this video that could remind me that what I'm getting ready to click on is like, yep, that's the one I wanted to watch.
That is fantastic breakdown of those pieces. Now, the thought that pops in my head, is there anything else aside from these three that affect and can play a role in people wanting to click and watch your videos and look at? I imagine maybe keywords. Is that still a thing? Is that plays a role?
Yeah, it is. I mean, people, here's the great thing is if you go to Google and you search how to grow on YouTube, you're going to get completely opposing information. And not all of it is wrong. A lot of it is, but not all of it is wrong. And not all of it is right, but some of it is. The reality of it is SEO is not dead. People search by things. When you go to YouTube and you type in, grill a steak, and it's YouTube will start telling you what people are looking for. These aren't guesses. These aren't YouTube saying, well, no, these are actual things people are looking for. So those are keyword phrases. That's what they're looking for. So if I'm doing a video on how to change a YouTube thumbnail, and I type in YouTube thumbnail and I see people are like, how to change one, they're looking for that. So maybe I can do that. So yeah, you can add that. You can also, add in emotion and action and what does it mean for me, to get to it. You can make it be the payoff. You can also add the SEO to the description as well. So when you upload a video to YouTube, and I don't even know what they call the technology, but they're reading it visually and audibly, frame by frame, second by second, it's uploading. So they know the minute your upload is done, what your video is about, what you say in it, and what is in every frame in there. They know if I'm standing in front of a restaurant. They know if I've got a mic in front of my mouth. It's that intuitive. So they already know a lot of information. So the description, going back to the description, can just help them understand, yeah, this is the type person that I want consuming this. So it doesn't hurt you to have that in there. So those are really the things to focus on, making sure your topic's on point. And I don't know if we're going to get into this, but when you click on the video, get to it. Get to it. If your video is about 3 ways to protect your company from, internet terrorists or something like that, don't spend a minute telling me about your morning routine drinking coffee. I don't care. I want to know what I clicked on, that one, I'm on the right video, and two, that you're going to deliver what you told me, and then I may be more inclined to watch more because you've kept your promise, and not wasted my time.
There's 3 types of videos we're gonna dig into our conversation today, and I think this will really hone in and allowing you, Kevin, an opportunity to talk about what works better for maybe one type of video versus another. But the 3 we're going to look at are how-to videos, which I absolutely think are going to be the best for YouTube. Another one will be more expert thought leadership, where there's no exact step-by-step process, but they're sharing a whole perspective, something you need to think about. And the third one will be customer stories. So they're sharing here's how the impact our solution, our business has had on our customer. And not all of those last 2, I'm not sure as much about SEO and keywords and maybe a different approach. But we can unpack each one of those. I feel like in many ways, though, people are looking for that perfect switch. We were talking about this earlier of hey, tell me, I created this video now. Just tell me how to make it work on YouTube. Is it that easy?
No. And for the folks so here's the thing. If somebody says it's that easy, don't pay any attention to what they say, because my gut is then every one of their videos should be 100 out of 100, right? I mean, it should just be 1 million views, Mr. Beast who, because this is the guy I've got to follow. The reality of it is some things work, some things don't. YouTube is a long play game. So I do think this is a mistake that a lot of people make. I'm an impatient person. We put it out there, and maybe we had a video do really well, so we assume everything's going to do really well, and the video just kind of putters along. And I mean, I'll share an example. I have a video that I did, goodness, I mean, over a year and a half ago. And for the longest time, if you look at the analytics, which is basically showing you the views, it was this. In a hospital, I'd already been kicked to the curb. They'd had another patient in. And all of a sudden, almost a year and a half later, it starts doing this, going up in views. And now it's in my top 10. Part of that is because Google starts picking it up. And just recently, I've had 2 companies reach out wanting to talk about collaboration based on that video that for a year did nothing. So you got to think about that going in. There are some things you need to do. There's some things you can do, and there's a lot you just don't need to worry about.
As you've described all that, I feel like it's a long journey to if you really want to grow a following on YouTube. And for many businesses, I don't know if that's really their agenda. Of course, the end result is they want more customers, they want more prospects, click on my videos, and then finally buy my product. But there's a trend in marketing, I feel like, that every business is becoming a media company where they are just need to create content so their ideal customers are looking at it, they're engaging with it. Wow, I like this company. And then after the like and the trust comes, and then you can engage them on the interest of what they do, they will buy later. But the same token, like building a YouTube channel, it's a long-term play to build that customer base. But as far as the types of videos and the content of it, in this video, we are not going to cover how to make a great video itself, because that's a topic for a whole nother thing. We're gonna assume that you've done a good job on creating a video. We'll make that assumption. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at 7 different videos that we found, and we're just going to really look at the content around it, the thumbnail, the headline, the title. right? Yeah. The title,
The title.
the description, and maybe some other things around that's connected to it. And we'll analyze that. Maybe in a future video, we can unpack like, how do you make a good video for specifically YouTube. But I've got a few examples. I'm going to pull them up here and let's look at them together. So we've got 7 different examples of YouTube videos. Let's unpack them. The first one is from from HubSpot. And this is more of a how-to video, how to create a landing page, free landing page builder. Obviously, this thumbnail was pulled in from here, so we don't have the original larger thumbnail. But I guess that's part of the first thing is like how much can you understand it when you first glance at it? What's your immediate thoughts, Kevin, when you see this thumbnail?
Well, I mean, from a thumbnail standpoint, I get it. So here's the first thing, and you were just zooming it back just a little. I think here's a huge takeaway for anybody. Even if you're not creating your own thumbnails, you need to think small. I joke that think about the size of your thumb. But what happens is a lot of times people design their thumbnails on a big screen and they look great, but they forget that the thumbnails are smaller because when you go to YouTube, even on just a desktop, you're competing with a bunch of other thumbnails. So
Yeah, all these over here.
there you go. That's a great example. So stop right there. See the one, how to speak? You can't really see what's back there. You can see the mixed one. So the more you put on the screen, the more it gets lost. Now stop right there. Go back, go up just a little right there. The Notion Masterclass. You can see that. You see the green pop.
Yeah.
You see the Notion logo and things like that. So if we go back to the one that you're looking at, look at it small and look at the text, how the text keeps getting smaller and smaller. Now, I don't know this lady. She's got a beautiful smile. But if I'm trying to get you to find out more about how to create a landing page, what's the most important thing? I would think the landing page. I would think the text. You can also, and this is where your title can complement the what's on the thumbnail. But right now it says on the thumbnail, how to create a landing page. I really can't see it. And the title is how to create a landing page, then free landing page builder. So what if the headline on the thumbnail had said, get this for free with an arrow? Don't underestimate the power of arrows on thumbnails. So that way I'm like, get what for free? I look at the title and go, oh, wow, I can get this and I can figure out how to. Because she could also put in there how to create a landing page step-by-step tutorial. If this is a tutorial, let me know you're going to show me step-by-step or the easy way to create that could have been another one, easy with an arrow to it. And then that way you let the object be a little bigger, maybe skew it a little, pull out something more important. There's a lot of stuff there, very small.
Yeah. I have heard that it is generally good to have a person's face. And it seems pretty common. Would you agree with that statement?
It is. Yeah, it is. I think you have to decide what you're selling, if you will. Like I have a friend who's got a DIY channel, woodworking at home. And my coaching to him has been, if you're talking about a drill, make the drill the star. In my world, if I'm talking about this microphone, maybe make the microphone the star. If I'm saying, why this is the best mic money can buy, who cares who I am? Maybe when you get into the video. So I think it can depend. I always balance it with, do I need to be in it? Do I not need to be in it? What am I bringing forth? And again, she could have just been like this, pointing, not as we call it, the YouTuber face, but, just pointing at it. So I think it really depends on what you're trying to push at the time and get somebody's attention on.
Let's unpack the description here now. I'm gonna look at it here because then it'll show a little bit better. So we've got start building your own landing page with a free HubSpot account today. So they got the call to action. I've already expanded this, show less. That's probably the first comment is like when you first land on it, this is what you're going to see. And I feel like when it comes to marketing, we do definitely want call to action to be prominent, to show there. Do you have any differing opinion on that?
No, I don't. And in fact, I think this has been kind of a trend I've seen going. I do it a little bit more. I usually don't put my link the very first thing. I usually put a sentence or two. So I flip it because here's why. So it says, unlock the power of HubSpot's free tool with Adria's step-by-step tutorial on creating a high blah, 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 blah. What I would have probably done is made that a sentence or two, moved that at the front, at the top, and then led to the link. Because if you're telling me right off here that I get a free landing page builder and I can click the link without watching the video, I don't have to watch the video. I'll click the link and I'm gone. And then that actually hurts you on YouTube because nobody watched your video. So I don't bury the most important link, but I would move it just because if you collapse it back again, you'll see you're going to get two sentences basically.
So if you're able to have a line or two here that says something, but then still have the link visible,
that's what I would do.
That could still work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then so we've got a paragraph that describes. It is a step-by-step tutorial. Yep. And explore the settings, leverage analytics, and all that good stuff. And then they have the chapters and then about HubSpot. Now, for those who are unfamiliar, what are chapters? What is this? How do they get it to work?
So chapters are basically timestamps. So like if you go back up to the video, you'll actually see where the chapters appear on the video right there. And there's a lot of, ever since YouTube rolled these out, there's still debate on whether they hurt or help you. I think it depends on what you're doing. The downside is it can make you jump. It can let me as a viewer just jump to just the place I want to watch. I watch it and then I bounce. Or you could say, well, but I'm helping you because each one of those chapters is actually labeled something, called something that makes sense. So like you see, adding a form to your landing page. And if you go to the next one, customizing your form, go to the next one. So you kind of see how it works. What's great about chapters is Google will pick those up as well. So if you were to be on Google and you searched and this video came up, they're going to give you those chapters. And then you can actually even search it that way. And if you click on the video on the chapter on YouTube, on Google, it will take you to that exact place on YouTube. So there is an advantage to that. And as far as doing them, there's a setting in there, and this I know is getting too far in the weeds, but there's a setting in your YouTube when you upload that you can allow YouTube to add chapters automatically if they want to. Doesn't mean they necessarily will. Otherwise, you do it exactly the way you want to start with 00:00 and call it something, just intro, or what I see a lot of people do is just rename it the title of the video. And then that will trigger it. I think you have to have at least 3 to be considered chapters.
And then it will start to create the automatically.
I mean, you can do. I've seen people do tip 1, tip 2, tip 3, tip 4 because they don't want people to go, "Oh, I got the tip. I'm gone." So
right, it's like teasing it, providing that. But there's a definite value for SEO purposes to actually name it, so that I tried it up here, and it showed up a little bit further down, but it came here along with the different
there you go,
different chapters.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Okay. And then a brief about, which I think there's nothing wrong with that. And that was it.
Yeah. Okay. And disclaimers I would definitely add. In fact, I've worked with some lawyers before on YouTube, and we got them to move their disclaimers in the video to the description and also on the about page, which, they had to justify. I mean, they had to rectify that legally, but they were okay with that. And that way it didn't like gum up the video, but there was always there. I'm an Amazon affiliate and stuff, so I have to put disclaimers down there that I use affiliate links and things like that. So yeah, and putting that at the very end is really where that needs to go. So that's good.
All right, well, let's look at another video. This one's more of a B2C care.com. So we've got the thumbnail here and title and description. First thoughts on the thumbnail.
It's okay. It's nice. I get that this is going to be somebody's story. I would advise against putting your logo or your website on the thumbnail because again, is you're trying to get me to watch a video. I
If it's
know
overly
you.
branded, it's like, I don't want to watch your corporate propaganda.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah.
No.
Well, and again, if we shrink this back, my care story is not really going to show up. You can start
Yeah.
seeing it. So what I see is aprilcare.com. And you got care on there twice. So if we assume that the title, or we say the title is How Senior Caregiving Has Made a Difference in My Life, what would have been nice is more of an emotional picture here. You know, is
Mm.
she wiping away a tear? Is she hugging a loved one? Is, is she looking distraught like, wow, if I hadn't made this decision? So I'll make a blanket statement and it's not an absolute, if this makes sense. But I could take off my care story, April, care.com, and I could put on here why I live in an Airbnb. And the video work and the thumbnail works. So it doesn't.
Yes.
So you kind of think about what does this mean? And again, we're assuming somebody's on YouTube and they're scrolling, even if they're looking for this. Why would I
Hmm.
click that? The title isn't bad. How Senior Caregiving Has Made a Difference in My Life. My gut is, knowing nothing about this company, is that is something that people ask them. It's a great tip for coming up with tip topics. What do people ask you? I can hear this as having aged parents. Why would this be a big deal? So hopefully the video answers that question.
This, I think, is in the category of testimonial videos. So I'm gonna pull it up. Yeah. So we're not gonna watch it again. This video, we're not talking about the content of the
Mm-hmm.
video. But we've got the, let's say you've seen the thumbnail and now you've seen the title. What are your thoughts on the description?
I would get rid of the hashtag. So here's the thing with hashtags on YouTube. You don't need them, period. Hashtags, you can have as many as you want. Only 3 would show up. But think of hashtag as a place that gives somebody an opportunity to jump off your video. Hashtags are clickable. That one's clickable. If you click
Hmm.
on hashtag my care story, it'll take you to a curated page. And now you're in
These are other.
Ohio, El Camino. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So all you've done
These are
is,
not necessarily theirs.
yeah, you've taken people away from yours. Hashtags are not what
Hmm.
hashtags are on other channels. So that's the first thing I would do is get rid of that. And also, it this reads kind of like it was on a different platform and they pulled it over because there's really no reason to put that in a. Keep in mind the description is for the video. It's really for the viewer. So to type out a sentence saying use hashtag my care story to get your story featured, maybe that's a call to action. Maybe you mentioned it in the video, or you put it further down.
Hmm.
Start your
Hmm.
search today. That makes sense. Join us here. This is really nice. The next one, they have another video in here. If you have another video that is even related in any similar way, doesn't even have to be, point them to it. Why? YouTube loves that. You're keeping them on there. But
Hmm.
again, for the viewer, think of the viewer. You're giving me another reason to watch something else. Now, the full story here. So evidently there's a longer version of this,
Oh.
I'm assuming. So let's click on that and see. Oh, wrong bit. So there's the other lesson is check your links.
Yeah.
Watch more of our latest commercials. Okay, so here's the brutal truth. Nobody's gonna like this. Nobody's going to YouTube to watch your commercials unless you were in the Super Bowl. Just get over it. Save yourself some time. Nobody's like, man, I can't wait to go to YouTube today. I hope somebody's gonna sell me something.
Hmm.
I may watch movie trailers and I may watch $1 million commercials, but I, I love Crocs. You know the shoes Crocs? I'm not gonna watch their commercials. Subscribe to our channel. That's not bad. But again, think of the pacing, not pacing. Think of the order of things. So can we go back up?
Hmm.
So you got the description. You got your little paragraph at the top with the hashtag. We dealt with that. Then you start your search, then join them. Then there's a video. Then there's a link, dead link, but we didn't know that, to the full story of this one. Then there's a commercial. Then there's other commercials. Wait a minute. Then there's a subscribe. No, wait a minute. Now there's a checkout. So it doesn't feel put together. It feels like just a lot of stuff thrown on there. I would argue it's probably too many things. So you always have to go back and say, what do we really want? And then yet there's another link to it. And then there's also their other social media. This is where I differ with a lot of other folks. I don't put any social medias on there because, again, this is about YouTube and getting them there, or my business or something like that. The overview I think is great. I don't know you need the overview and the goal and the mission. It's too much. So if I were doing this for them, what I would do is I would go all the way back up, and after your short paragraph, then I would have the first link under there is watch her full story. Mm-hmm. So think of this as a cut down teaser. So you've watched it and you go, man, I want to know more about her. Because if I don't care about her, I may not care about signing up for, what is it? Senior caregiving. Why has it made a difference? Why has it made a difference in her life? I want to see the full story. And if I don't care, then what is the next most important thing? And it may only be click here to find out more about our services. So that's what I think I would recommend to them.
Awesome. Would you? I think it's a general marketing a good mindset to have of don't have too many options for people to choose from. Otherwise, they get overwhelmed and then they leave and they won't choose it. So the same thing applies to these YouTube descriptions. It's like follow them, let them take them on a track, and you could give one or two, maybe three options. But I guess if you list too many, then it may not. You may just be overwhelming them. It sounds like.
Yeah, and you can also group them. So let's say they had two other stories they wanted to share. Mm-hmm. Maybe say, watch these other stories next, and put a link to watch Bobby's, why Bobby got into it, and then whatever it's called. Yeah. And then it at least makes sense where you've grouped them. But I think the hardest thing is to do is sometimes just look at it as a viewer might. And even if you've got a template, it's okay to break the template based on the video.
Love it. All right, let's look at our next video. Founders features. First thoughts on seeing this thumbnail here. Make it a little smaller.
Well, I think we already know what we're going to say. So I like clean space until it doesn't make sense. So I can't read her name from here. I feel like I'm at an eye appointment. Kelsey's. There we go. I can't read it. Yeah. So there's that. Mm-hmm. And then you've got whatever it is down in the corner, Techstars. So everything on a thumbnail should make sense, should have a purpose. Why is it there? And now, granted, I get some businesses that are like, dadgummit, we paid a lot of money for this logo. Put that on that thumbnail. I would argue, okay, but what if we put it in the video? What if we put it on the sign on the building? What if we do it somewhere else? Because that's not the purpose of the thumbnail. So here's the tough thing, I think, about featuring people by name and photos. In some sectors, they're known. Elon Musk, you probably don't even have to put his name, and a majority of the world would know who he is. Okay, but we assume everybody knows everybody. I don't know who this lady is. I don't know her name. I'm not even sure the group. So it's what CEOs can learn from Gen Z and creators. So I would ask them, what is the video about that you could have peeled more to the, if I'm learning from a Gen Z, then have something Gen Z-ish on there that makes me go, yes, that's what I needed to know. Like maybe you've got a Gen Z, with a suit and tie on that looks opposite of the Gen Z, and the thumbnail, it says, seven-figure entrepreneur, and I'm a Gen Z. whatever that is. So you go, what? Then, assuming, this video may have something to do with like, expectations or something like that. Now, my gut is maybe founded features. This is probably a series. And these are very hard to do. I mean, green, the blue logo is very, very hard to read on the green. Again, you have to look at small down. So I think, to me, I would completely pass this by.
That's the challenge often is when you're creating a series or a lot of videos, you're like, all right, the thumbnail's first thing. Let's just create a template and let's keep it simple and let's keep it going. I mean, we've done that ourselves. So it is a trade-off. I mean, what would you say to that when you're like, I just don't have time to customize it that much?
Well, I think there's some templates you can come up with, but again, you got to think of the viewer. You've got to think of the viewer. The viewer's your customer. So either way, if you don't get them to click and care, it doesn't matter. Well, but we put a lot of money and time into this series. Doesn't matter if nobody's watching it. So you can create a series by creating a playlist. You can do a lot of different things. You can feature that on your channel. There could be a playlist on this that says, founding feature stories, and then put these stories in there. But have it say something, put a quote on there, or now that was kind of cool, or do something like that. But you've still got to get me to click, to watch it, to care. And I would say based on the title, which isn't a bad title, that's what it's about.
Yeah, so let's break that down. Then I want to get into this button here in the description. What CEOs can learn from Gen Z and creators. What are your thoughts on that as a title?
I don't think it's bad. Are Gen Z and creators two different categories, or is it Gen Z creators? That's what I don't know. It's like what they can learn from Gen Z and cooks. Well, no, wait a minute. Is it Gen Z who are cooks? So it makes it sound like there's two different groups. My gut is they're not in this video, so I think they've already caused some confusion, unintended. It says right there in this exclusive interview, the founder of CEO of Collective delve into the minds of Gen Z and creators and unearth their unique perspectives on autonomy, creativity, and their game-changing impact on the job market.
So it may be who are creators.
It could be.
Or they're trying.
It could be. It could also be that you had a group of Gen Zers, even if you play the stereotype photos. So in other words, it's more stock image, right? And then the title says why these Gen Zers are the next big creators that you want to talk to. I mean, that's not it, but you see what I mean? Oh, why are they? Why these Gen Zs know more than your CEO? What? Whoa, what? I'm offended by that. I've got to watch that. Click. Well, Kevin, but you want them to watch.
So this is the shortest one we've seen yet. We've looked at yet. I was just checking the others too, but it does kind of provoke. You're going to learn something. But I like you were going more of almost a provoking type of title, which probably gets more engagement.
Yeah, it's inquisitive. Yeah. I mean, they're obviously, this is targeted to CEOs, but should it be what your CEO? Is it, I mean, if I know I'm a CEO, I probably know I'm a CEO, but that's okay. I mean, that's not a bad thing. Again, my first take on this is it feels like Gen Z and creators are two different groups, and I bet they're not in this video. I bet it's Gen Z creators, which is another thing to think about. Every word in that title needs to make sense.
So
think
interesting.
Of it, here's a different way. Here's an assignment for people watching this. You're going to be charged for every word and letter in your title, or as Alexander likes to say, your headline, and you've got a finite budget. So would you pay for that word if it really didn't work? I don't know.
I like it. Cut it down. Cut it out. Simplify.
Key highlights.
So let's look.
Don't give me the
Let's look at the
highlights.
description.
You want me to watch the video? The key highlights are great for a blog post. Look at this. And then okay, here's my gut. This is pulled probably from a website, because tune in and see and join the conversation that's shaping the future. This doesn't really read like a video. It reads more like a something I'm going to see on a website that I'm getting ready to read it and stuff like that. I don't need that much information if I'm getting ready to watch the video. And if you keep scrolling on down, great googly moogly, I think they've got the hashtags covered.
Yeah.
Again,
So many.
only the first 3 will ever work, but even then, it's just you're going all over the place. And I think like Mr. Beast, this is a great example. I'm so glad. Okay, the last hashtag is Mr. Beast. Click it. My gut is their video ain't going to be anywhere on there. So you've just jumped me over to something completely. But Kevin, we're talking about Gen Z. I don't think anybody watches Mr. Beast and goes, I watch him because he's Gen Z. So you got to really think about where you're taking people. My gut is no business watching this would ever link to another business, competitor or not, right?
Yep.
Think about that on your
true.
hashtags. Like our content, subscribe to see more. Well, if you're going to just put a subscribe button there, you can do that. Looking to apply now, learn more about. Again, there's some things on here. I would have probably moved all that up. I would have gotten rid of the social stuff. Again, let YouTube do YouTube, and I think you'll see more success. Link it to a podcast. I think is great. Unless you're putting your podcast on YouTube, and then do that.
I noticed there's no call to action that they put up near the top. It's all down here. I feel like that's a missed opportunity to, if they're like watching the video and they're enjoying it, and they're like, what should I do next? It's like, here, just go do this next. It's like, what's your prime call to action? If there's one thing, subscribe. Like, it could be subscribe if you're trying to grow the following, or apply.
Well, and again, I assumed it may not be. I assume this is a series. If it is, according to that, there's 24 podcasts. Even though that looks like it may be off, no, okay. So good for them. They've made a podcast out of theirs. Move that up. Don't bury it. So
beautiful. Okay. I think for a lot of recurring and repeat content like this series, it's like, all right, how do I create a good rhythm of flow? It's that matches, and it's like quick intro, figure out that call to action near the top. You're suggesting you don't need to have the same type of content you would do in a blog post. You don't necessarily need to do the highlights, which is interesting, because I would have thought, it's probably good to have that recap, but not necessarily.
No.
Okay.
No. You got to think of the platform. It's just it's YouTube. It's not. It's not you
if anything, they could have. Yeah, instead of doing highlights, they could have done where
chapters.
This one. They could have done chapters, and then that would probably have been better to show a brief overview. Doesn't give anything away,
right?
But then creating some SEO capability.
So go back to this video. There are chapters there, but I'm pretty sure that they are generated by YouTube. So scroll back down.
Longevity.
All right, scroll down though. You'll see them.
Oh, yeah, it is.
No, keep going. You'll see them right there. Chapters. Now click that. Click View All. And go scroll up, and it'll say these chapters are auto-generated.
Oh, yep.
So we were talking earlier. There's a setting in your YouTube settings for every video that it says, basically allow them to do it. Now, there's upside and downside. YouTube will determine where the chapter should be, and I'll say they're pretty good, but they're going to name them based on the transcript. So this one says, biggest takeaways. To what? So I might have called that something else based on what they said there. You see what I mean? Yeah. So the downside, advice for founders, that makes sense. Customer acquisition process, that makes sense. So
could you customize these after the fact?
You can. Well, you can't customize what they've done, but you can go in and add your other ones. Typically, though, if YouTube has added them, I don't know that I would go back in and add mine at that point.
Yeah, but you're saying you can't modify what they've already created?
You can't modify what they've done, no.
I mean, if you're short on time, it's nice that nice that it automatically does this if you're short on time. But is this feature on automatically, or you have to turn this on?
It is, I think it can be on by default, and then you can option to turn it off. Right now I leave mine on. And here's the crazy thing. They can even go back to older videos based on the interest and add chapters to them. So you may have a video that you did way before chapters rolled out, and one day all of a sudden it's got chapters on it.
And that could help SEO wise for you to show
Yeah.
up, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that it's a bad thing for businesses, and it takes a little time, but it might be really worth it based on your end goal.
All right, let's look at another one. Yeah. Let's look at our next example, example 4 here. This one is from Gary V, which is pretty prominent, prevalent everywhere in the marketing and business world. First thoughts. This is actually one of his compilation videos. So they actually took and edited a bunch of stuff. So we could talk about that in a sec of that approach. But first, let's just look at the video. What's your thoughts on the thumbnail?
So Gary V is one of those guys that in Gary V's world, I'm going to make a blanket statement. I mean, he's been doing this for so long. He's everywhere, and he's got a team to support that. So he can probably get away with this. He can probably get away with the 10 pieces of advice. I don't know what 10 pieces of advice has to do with 10 short moments from 2023. To me, it sounds like it's going to be about his biggest shorts. I never always smile when I say that. His biggest shorts.
But it's like people, they know him, and so there's this concept of I don't know exactly what it is, but I like him. I want to know more. What his 10 things are. I don't care what they is.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and again, he doesn't need my help. I would probably have had something different on the thumbnail, like "This is why you're failing," whatever that is. See, here's the thing. This is a compilation, right? You can say one thing to represent the video, but it is like if he does 10 things of advice and they're all different, pick one that entices you and let that be in there somewhere. Now, if he says, like, white, you're a loser if you wear a ball cap, and nowhere in there he talks about that, then that's clickbait.
And it's misleading.
But I would say something in there. Quotes are really powerful, and we know Gary V has a filthy mouth, so you could have even used the cursing emojis. If you do this, your emoji in 2023. Oh, what? And then in there, 10 pieces of advice, 10 of my best 10 of my best tips and advice from 2023. I don't know what short moments means. It feels like shorts are already under a minute, so I feel like you're just going to show me half a short. So I don't really know. To me, I'll be honest, again, he doesn't need my help. It feels lazy.
These are actually shorts.
Which is okay,
so I guess that's
okay. You don't have to tell me it's a compilation. You don't have to tell me any of that. You don't have to tell me it's shorts.
Yeah.
Because they're not presented as shorts. If you noticed, it's presented as long form. So don't necessarily prepare me for that.
Yeah.
I get maybe I don't know that much about shorts, but it's 7 minutes, 30 seconds. So I know it's going to be that long form. It's not showing up in the shorts feed. So I know it's not going to be a vertical video.
That's not 7 minutes. There's definitely not short.
So again, what makes sense?
Yeah.
Not that Gary, again, needs my coaching, but if he was watching, that's what I'd tell you, Gary. So.
Yeah, we're not doing this for Gary. He doesn't need this help, but it's for all of us as we look at these videos. It's good to realize we don't necessarily take everything that one of these amazing people do because it doesn't always apply to where we are in our current status.
Yeah, let's. I think that we need to really reinforce that. Here's the issue: is that it's easy to look at ginormous channels, business creator doesn't matter, and go, oh. Well, he did a video and the thumbnail said, and the title was, well, I did it. And you go, well, that worked for him. Yeah, but you need to put it in context of it, you know.
Hmm.
And there's people who don't know who Gary Vee is. There's people who don't know who Mr. Beast is. There's people who don't know who Peter McKinnon is. I mean, I could go on and on and on. There's a certain Casey Neistat, there's a certain level he's gotten to. He can do that, and he may not even care. We don't
Yeah.
know that a 2 million view video for him has underperformed. We're talking to
Hmm.
businesses who need people to watch to do something, either watch more or buy their product or do something like that. So be very careful about some of these things like that, because can they work? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah. So let's look at the description
Timestamp?
here. He's using timestamps very well.
Yep. Yep.
Um, yeah, very brief intro.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of,
Again, it works for him.
yeah, and that's not a big thing either. I mean, sometimes the first sentence or two can just be reiterating what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
So I'm looking to see what
yeah, Gary being
actually.
Gary, if you go, I mean, there's a ton of stuff on there that I think he's got on there for different reasons. I mean, Gary's about connecting somewhere all over the place. He owns so many businesses. I understand what he's doing here. And I imagine a lot of this here, there's a lot of SEO in there. There's a lot of keywords in there. And there may be even some things legally he feels like he needs to put in there because he owns so many corporations. You always have to weigh that in there. My gut is less than 1% ever read any of that.
Yeah.
So you got to think about
Yeah.
that too. So if you know you have to have something on there because it does have some keywords in there or there's some importance or the boss said you have to, bury it at the bottom. And that way when the boss goes, well, it's not on, no, it's on there right there. And they're going to say, good job. And then you know that it's down
Good
there
shit.
where nobody's ever going to see it. So
I love it. All right, let's look at number 5 here. Oh, this looks like fun. In the software SaaS world, Docker. First thoughts on the thumbnail.
same thing. I love the whale. I don't know what it is. So we've got title and thumbnail saying the exact same thing. Now, there are going to be people, I want everybody to listen to this, that will tell you you don't ever, ever do that. I disagree. I think sometimes you can. I met somebody recently who, when they go to YouTube, never looks at titles, only looks at thumbnails. And so for this person, if the thumbnail doesn't say what he's looking for, he misses it. Now, but again, you can't say, "Oh, okay, well that speaks to everybody." No, I mean,
You can't generalize
you
that.
know,
Yeah.
you've got that space. I always try and look at it as if somebody just looked at it, would they know enough? What's the audience I'm going for? So in this case, you've got cloud native WASM. Is that WASM?
Mm.
And then what's all the hype? Okay, you've also got that in the title. So if that's the case and you're like, no, we really want to drive this home, my gut is this is a very specific audience. It may be a smaller
Yep.
audience, and smaller could be 100,000. So it's all relative, right, to your business and your industry. But what I
Yep.
would do, can you go back to the thumbnail for just a second?
Actually, sorry, I'll go
That's fine.
back.
So evidently Docker's the company, it looks like.
Mm.
I would
Yep.
make the title, okay. I would take Docker off of it. Doesn't need it. If the two people are that important, make them bigger, but make the type huge, 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 huge. Remember, these are thumbnails. Make it big. Make it bold. Don't make me. But right now, I'm looking at Docker, Cloud Native, WASM. What's all the hype? Two guys' names and their titles. So think of a
Yeah.
thumbnail when I'm going through and I'm scrolling, and I may give it maybe 2 or 3 seconds to look at. Even if I'm interested, I'd have to know these guys. I mean, did they start it? Did they build the cloud? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But again,
Mm-hmm.
even if one of these guys, Elon Musk, you probably wouldn't say Elon Musk, chairman of X and SpaceX and blah, 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 blah. You probably just
Yes.
say Elon,
Yeah.
you know. So I mean, think
Yeah.
about I think about that. This one to me, they probably got a format. It's probably there.
Yeah.
Um,
So looks like a kind of a thought leadership type piece here. The two of them talking about what's the hype around this new cloud native format, I guess. Of
so here's a thought.
awesome time.
If a business is watching this and this is the kind of content they do, which is fantastic. I mean, I consider this a video podcast. It's great. Then you can always look at what is the problem it's solving, what is the out of it, you know. I mean, can you use a stock footage of somebody doing that and they've got like a cloud around their head and say, you know, what the hype? Your point is to get somebody to watch it. And if they go, well, Kevin, wait a minute, but this is an interview. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, you know, Titanic in the poster, and I'm sorry if this spoils it for somebody, didn't show the picture of the ship sinking, right? Well, I didn't know the ship was going to sink. I thought it was a love story. Well, again, it's about getting them. So think of the packaging. Then I get in there, and it's two guys talking about it, or two women, or a guy and a woman, or whatever it is. 3 men and a baby. I don't know who it is, but think about that.
But it's that hierarchy of you talking about, like, all right, get the image to at least grab their attention, and if there's text on there, that it piques their interest. The
Yes.
title then can be a bit more informative and start to explain it a little bit further, and then to get them to start watching the video.
Yeah, yeah. Now, again, let's go back to the Elon Musk. Let's say they had talked to Elon Musk on here. I would have probably had a shot of Elon Musk with a quote or something like that. You go, what? You know, oh, wow. You know, and then it's like, you know, why is Elon Musk, you know, against cloud storage or whatever it might be? You know, an interview with bang.
Cool. Let's look at the description here. Get ready to dive into the wild and wonderful world of cloud native web assembly. And I guess that's what WASM stands for, with Docker captains. And so this is the same information. It's like, if you can put the same information that was on the thumbnail, you can just, if you're like, it needs to be somewhere, like you said earlier, like the box doesn't, the names need to be there. Cool. We'll put it in the description.
Yeah, there's that whole paragraph right there under it. I would take that and I would probably narrow it down to a couple of words about if I see it. Remember we showed about when it's show less, those two sentences that are going to show. And you know, and something else that folks need to really watch is go to watch YouTube on television, which is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And you'll see again the first two lines of the description. So if it's a link off to something, or you're getting very excited about, you know, your host because they're really cool or something like that, but I don't have enough, you know. So I know I said it earlier about not reading the description. Think of it though as something short and simple that I can get quickly, that can complement everything, right? And I think in this case, it feels a little bit too much about them and how cool they are, and a lot less about me, the viewer.
Ooh, I think that point right there, I think particularly in the business world, if thought leaders are going to be on there, no one may know who they are, but it just feels natural. We got to put their names everywhere, which is taking up valuable space.
Yeah. Can you click more again and see if there's anything else that we need to talk about?
What I was pulling back is actually looking back at the other ones we were looking at of how there could be more here. There could be actually 3 lines of text. Actually, one of them. Sorry, I have too many tabs open.
Depends on how you
will
place it. Yes. Yep.
Right. But because they have a space in here, it doesn't even show. Start to show that there is more
And
text.
space isn't bad. You know, I mean, rather than jam everything together, obviously they've got links to, it looks like both of them, and different diagrams and stuff like that. Then the conversation, you know, they're giving me a lot of options on here. Again, is this an ongoing conversation? If it is, maybe put a link to that. You don't always have to take me somewhere on here. But my gut is a business, say a real estate agents watching this, you probably have a home guide or a selling or something like that you would really like to give me to maybe get on your email list. Don't hide that.
So you have a downloadable guide, some sort of
And you can switch it up, you know.
Mhm. That's actually a really good point because I feel like I've heard that done before. Is like near the top you have that link to that guide, and then you can put that in all your videos, and if it's working or not, you can swap it out and change it over time as
Absolutely.
you
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
test
And
different.
there's some tricks you can do. We can talk about on another episode about how you can do that. But yeah, you don't, it doesn't have to
Yeah.
always be the same, but you can have a lot of the same information that you
Hmm.
don't change if you don't want to, or you can tweak if you need to.
I noticed they don't do chapters in this one. They're either the auto or the ones they're manually
Well, keep
made.
in mind, auto, even if you turn that feature on, that is an option that YouTube reserves the right to use or not. They've never said
Oh,
what the criteria, but my guess is they do it if they feel like the video is getting traction. That's my guess.
interesting.
Um,
So for a lot of these companies that are publishing a video may get hundreds of views, maybe a thousands. Um, you might not get it.
you might not get it. And to really just probably give you more of a headache, you might have chapters on Google that don't correspond with YouTube. So, for example, if this is a video, and I've seen this happen, if this video starts showing up a little bit more on Google search, and you can find out at some point in your analytics where your traffic is coming from, and it starts picking up on there, and you didn't add chapters, there may be chapters in the Google search, but yet when you go to
Hmm.
the video, they're not there, but they'll be there in
Wow.
Google. It happens occasionally. So what my advice would be is if you're producing anything for YouTube that you think, you know, the information in here is vital, we want people to click on it and know it, and the chapters would help them either get to know you or your company better, want to do business with you, learn something so they want to keep watching, I would go ahead and add the chapters. I'm lazy. I let YouTube do it.
Yeah, it takes time. Everything takes time, so it's also a question of like figuring out where do you put your energy and effort. But
Yeah.
I feel like the benefits definitely are there. All right,
They can
so
be.
let's
Yeah,
look at
they
number
can be.
six. Number six here is a TED Talk. I feel like most people know about TED Talks, the informational
Mhm.
videos. What are your thoughts?
So
Starting with that thumbnail.
yeah, so here's the thing. This kind of works for TED because TED is all about speakers, and it's all about speakers making a point. So even though I don't know Yara, I think is I'll say her name. It doesn't surprise me there's a speaker. Um, and again, I think businesses have to be very careful about this. And we also know TED brands everything, so they're going to have a TED logo on there because that is what they do. And there's a lot of bigger brands that just do that, and it may be their branding guide, and they just like that's what we do. But what I like about this is why you should embrace your curiosity. Why should I? So all of a sudden they've got me a little curious. See what I did there about curiosity? We could have titled this a thousand different ways, but I like it. But even the composition. So think about this. She's almost looking at the title. There's enough space. It's on a dark background. It may not have been on a dark background. Keep in mind, you can cut the background out, right? But either way, but look at the text. It's white, boring text that you can read. That's huge. That is huge. Now, assuming this is a background they added, the only thing I might do would I might have added a little different color or shading to the background. So if you notice, it's just kind of flat behind her and she's got a little darker dress on. I might have done like maybe a little like a glow, not a glow, but you know, almost like a spotlight right behind her, just to have her pop just a little. But if you say, I don't know how to do that, then don't do that. But this is actually good. She's engaging. You know, she's giving a talk, which fits TED.
Hmm.
It's a good thumbnail. Let curiosity lead. The title's okay, but one thing, if you notice about it, it's short. And
Hmm.
short titles aren't bad. One of my videos about a question that was asked is can you replace a YouTube video after you upload it? It's a common question. So you know what I titled the video? Can you replace a YouTube video after upload? And it's one of my top videos. I titled it what people are asking. So sometimes it does make sense. Let curiosity lead. I would say if this was your video, what's the real takeaway? What's the moment? You know, we do know that in Ted's case, they love to highlight the speaker, and then Ted is branding. There's nothing wrong with that. What is good about this is it's stacked near the end. Put your most important thing first. So if it had been TED Talk, Yara Shahidi, what most businesses would have said, CEO of blah, 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 / comma, why curiosity matters for you've already lost me. So put your most important thing first. So yeah, this is not a bad one to really learn from. You could replace the you should embrace your curiosity with a quote from there. But Kevin, it's a 20-minute talk. Doesn't matter. If she didn't say anything in 20 minutes, then nobody's going to watch the video anyway. So there's something in there where you go, oh, where can I get the quote? It's a transcript. Pull something out. Do something. You go, oh, man, your curiosity is killing you. Oh, I'm sorry, what? And then you could have taken what was up there and put that as a title. So see how you can play with that? It's got to fit. Don't get worried about clickbait as long as you deliver on what you say it's about. If people hear about clickbait, it's only clickbait if it doesn't deliver. If I do a video that says how to get tacos everywhere, and the video is about grilling steak, that's clickbait.
Awesome.
Now I'm hungry for
all right, let's look at the description here. It seems pretty straightforward. We've got this 2-sentence description.
Yep.
And then it goes into like a boilerplate. What are your thoughts on that?
I think this is actually very smart. Again, I stopped using hashtags altogether. I would really caution businesses against doing it unless you have a well brand name. My gut is TED and TED Talks. They're in there. Now, here's the thing. If I do a video about reacting to TED Talks and I give it a hashtag TED Talks, mine may be picked up in there. So you always run that risk of it's not just about you in hashtags, right? But sending them to other playlists, that's yours. Sending them to other your videos, that's yours. Sending them to your website, that's different. Yeah, obviously my gut is they place their membership very high, so it's like the first clickable thing there. I mean, forget the hashtags for a minute. I like that it's 2 sentences. It just tells me enough. It just tells me enough to watch the video, which is the point. Their follow. Here's the thing. But now see, they've got a playlist buried on down. I'd put the playlist before everything else. And here's why. If you go through this and you think of what's clickable. So, okay, the first one is their membership. That takes you off YouTube. Then they've got follow us, X, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. All those are social media platforms off YouTube. So you're going to see where I'm going here in a minute. Visit our website, off YouTube. Watch more. That's the first time. And then a video. So I have to get through what is that? 6, 7, 8, 9 other links that take me off YouTube before I get to one that keeps me on YouTube. YouTube wants you to stay on YouTube. It doesn't matter what your business is, period. But Kevin, I feed hungry children. Doesn't matter. It's good for you, but they want you to stay on YouTube. So be thinking about where you place those links. And quite honestly, I don't know that I'm going to YouTube to connect with you on all of your social media platforms. But again, you may have a CEO boss that goes, but dadgummit, we're trying to grow TikTok before they ban it. Come on. Well, then that's probably not the best use of your YouTube channel, but think about where it is. There is a reason. It sounds so morbid. There is a reason the obituary is not in the first section of the newspaper, if they still print those, right? It's usually at the end.
Oh,
Classifieds.
Oh, man.
Remember newspapers? Anybody remember newspapers? You didn't open it past the front page. You go, oh, look, there's classifieds.
Yeah.
They're always at
Yeah.
the end. So things we would always put
Uh-huh.
our drinks on at the table. So
Well, you make an excellent point that as far as like business, when you're thinking of, you're like, well, I need to drive them to our website, go to other places, get the traction. But if you realize that, okay, what I'm really doing is creating a relationship with my customer, I'm providing value, education, insight, letting them know more about us so they can trust us. They know where you are, and they can come find you, and they can get to your site. And you can always have those links further down. But if you want your videos, that comes back to the question. If your goal is to increase views and engagement on your
yeah,
YouTube videos, then YouTube will like it,
right.
appreciate when you're pushing to other content on YouTube.
Well, let's just take it to a business. Let's say you're a software business and you're trying to get more people to
Sign up for your software for your
to
yeah.
sample your software that
Mm-hmm.
you do apps, let's
Mm-hmm.
say, for whatever. And do you want that, which is helping your business grow, to be buried or be an option with a dozen other ones? I mean, sure, they're on X and Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and TikTok, and those are all very, very different. So think about where's your most important and what you really want to get out of. I mean, we go back to the real estate agent. Their, email list
Mm-hmm.
is huge. Mailing list is huge. Create an offer, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. So if my video is on, how to, 10 ways to get the most money for your house in 2024, then create a takeaway, which could be just what you did in the video, and make it and say, make sure you get this guide, and then tell me a reason in there. Don't just say download the guide. Get the
Mm-hmm.
most money from your house with my guide. Click here, and link to it. But then put that up there. Don't make me look for it, and don't drive me off platform before I can get it. I can't say for sure, but my unofficial gut, that YouTube is not crazy when the majority of our links drive people off site.
Mm-hmm. It's the same on LinkedIn and
Yeah.
other channels. For marketers, this shouldn't be a new concept, but it is something you always have to balance
Yeah.
and weigh.
And it could be a
Um,
template. I mean, Alex, that could be a
mhm.
template that just gets, every time. And so nobody really looks at it. So
Yep. All right. I think we have one last example. If you're still good on time.
I'm excited. Yes. Let's
Okay.
destroy somebody else's dreams. I'm just joking. I'm just
All
joking.
right. All right. This is Salesforce, big company. Um, First initial thoughts on the thumbnail.
Okay. My gut is I'm assuming that this is a testimonial because
Yep.
it's how this company uses Salesforce.
Hmm.
Um, I I guess they do trees. I don't know. I don't know who he is. Salesforce logo. I mean, again, I don't know what the clock is up in the background. To me, as a viewer, nothing's really making sense. I get it. How they use it, but Baca uses AI to do the heavy lifting of sales. Um, I would have
Titling
probably had
testimonials.
something, huh? What?
Titling testimonials can be very hard to
Yeah,
make it
but
interesting.
if the point of this is that this company has figured out a way to use AI to help them make money,
Hmm.
okay, I just put that in a phrase, and I don't know what they do that anybody can understand. That is more intriguing than how Baca systems use Salesforce. I have to know what Baca systems are. I have to know what Salesforce is. I have to know I'm looking for Salesforce. I have to know Salesforce have that. But then I go, wait a minute, they use AI. Ding, ding, AI is completely different. Now you're getting me, AI to do heavy lifting of
So
sales?
this raises a question. This raises an interesting question. So Baca Systems is the customer. Salesforce is the company. Uh, are you suggesting that we don't put the customer name in the title?
I wouldn't.
Because why wouldn't you do that?
Well, again, okay, let me, rather than say it so definitively, what's the purpose? Is this because you're trying, like, you got the customer and you're making them happy? They've probably already paid you. It's not that they're not important, but are you selling Salesforce? Now, again, it depends on the brand. If this was like Disney, why Disney turned to Salesforce to save it? Or you see what I mean?
You're talking about like if it's a brand name that in your industry, at least, that people would recognize, definitely put it in there.
Yeah. But
But if
I,
it's not,
and again, I would have to, so assuming whoever this is, so whoever business you're in, I would have to know who that company is to care enough to see why they're using it. What I'm
mm-hmm.
arguing is it's the topic that should be most important. And the topic is buried in the title that they used AI to do the heavy lifting of sales. And I'm not even sure what heavy lifting means. Did they use AI to increase their sales 1,000%? How this company used AI to 10x their sales. I might click on that as a business. And then you hash a Salesforce testimonial because it's really about Salesforce.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because at the end of the
Interesting.
day, and this is not, again, using this example, it's not a knock on Baca systems or Baca, right?
Right.
But Salesforce is what you're wanting is this is a Salesforce video trying to get you to use Salesforce.
Mm-hmm.
Or a Salesforce client testimonial. I don't even know who it is. Again, unless it's like, Disney or whatever.
So for the title, you're really encouraging being able to focus on the how, and that it makes it much more approachable. But I like your point of you can still tag it on the end, your brand, your company name, or even potentially it could be Salesforce and Baca Systems testimonial or like a case study or something. But still at the beginning, having an engaging informational, or what's the word that you use to describe that section then that you're trying to craft? Is it informational? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it can have keywords in there as well as what people are looking for. In this case, they're probably I imagine people are looking for AI tools to make more money. I mean, you can search that and see, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, our business does that, and you've got clients that want to talk about it. You still have to make it about the people that are looking to do that, and then your testimonial can back that up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I look, if it's my business, I care more about how you can help my business than how you help the other person. The other person can help sell me on your business, but you still have to tell me why I need that. And I can get that through their testimonial, but I still need to know why would I care? Why would I spend money? Why would I do that? Oh, okay, I got that. Yeah, yeah. It's an
Got
emotional
it.
thing. You got to tap into that some way. Greed is an
Interesting.
emotion.
Interesting. It is a balance for sure because I imagine a lot of marketers listening to this will be like, well, I don't want just anyone. I want my ICP, my specific customer, to only come and watch my videos. But there's nothing wrong with others coming to watch your videos. But if anything, adding a couple things at the end. So this first part
Yeah.
be something that grabs any human, but
Mhm.
then you can distinguish it at maybe towards the end of that it's more related to the industry,
Yeah. Yeah.
or other something else.
And the reality of it is you may get people watching your videos you're not targeting. That may just happen. You can do your best to try and get just the right audience, but you can't exclude everybody, right? So you can get so focused on it that you do miss maybe fringe. There's a balance. Here's the beauty with this. You can always change your thumbnail and your title. Always, always, always. Don't do it too quickly, but you can change it.
Yeah. All right, let's look at the description. I'm going to pull it up with AI data and CRM. All right, so let's look at the description here in play. They've already got 721,000 views a month ago. I wonder if they use this as an ad. So often I know that can.
Yeah, it could be. You never know. I mean, because you can put ads behind videos and it will And it may serve your purpose as a business, but it can also inflate your numbers.
Yeah,
So
which
your
maybe
views
is
are
how
really
they're
bought.
leveraging it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're
Bought
using this
legally.
is a whole marketing strategy,
Yeah.
not a flea. But that is this will be a topic for another video, I think. But using testimonial videos, and other videos, and retargeting campaigns for people that you already know are interested in your product or have expressed interest, you can get those to show up, to stay visible, and hopefully you can pull them into your YouTube channel and they'll subscribe and look at it. But we'll unpack that another
Oh yeah,
time. But
you
this,
can do a lot of that. Yep. But yeah,
but let's look at
there's a
just the
quick
description
sentence or
here.
two. Learn
Yeah.
more. The hashtags. Again, you're jumping me off. Customer success is too generic. So here's the thing: if somebody is watching these and they're like, "Well, yeah, I hear you, but I'm going to keep using hashtags," the more generic
Mhm.
you are with your hashtags, the more chance you are taking people into a sea of other people using that really
Right.
doesn't have anything to do with it.
Kevin, you've been talking about hashtags from one point of view, from what I understand here, of putting them on here so that they'll click on them and go somewhere else, versus you're putting them on here so you'll show up in said feeds. I mean, wouldn't you want these videos to show up in said feeds?
Well, but again, we're assuming that people are on YouTube searching hashtags, and I don't know that they are. I think that's, YouTube rolled these out a while back, and it was one of those features that they seemed to get very excited about, and then they just never talked about much more.
Uh,
And anything you read about what YouTube even says is important, they don't even talk about hashtags anymore. It's like tags; they're just not important. But people keep using
Interesting.
them because of Instagram, and people still use them on Facebook. And
I see.
I don't think the majority of people that I know go to a social media platform and search by hashtag. The majority of people, I know people do. But again, YouTube is a search engine. Let YouTube search out. Let your descriptions and your keywords and things like that be what gets people
Hmm.
discover you, and it's shared, not the hashtag. Because again, going back to that one, customers here, just click on it. Just for now, remember this
Which
is
one? Oh,
Salesforce.
yeah,
Click on it.
yeah.
Customer success.
Salesforce? Customer success. Okay, I'll do customer success.
And let's see what we got. Alyssa Works, Moment, Dishy, CSM Practice. So all you've done is taken me to an aggregated page of other businesses, creators. Oh, there's a Salesforce video right there. You see what I'm getting at right here?
Hmm.
And here's the other thing. What if some of these don't have anything to do with the topic of the video? Customer
Yeah.
satisfaction, that could be banking. That could be restaurant. That could be anything.
Yeah. So the only way that you're going to show up in these is somebody's actually searching this exact hashtag. It's not.
That's it.
It doesn't help your keywords.
Nope, not at all.
But it is
No,
for that.
no. But if
Okay.
customer success is a keyword that you want people looking for, write that into your copy. Add that into
Hmm.
your
Yeah.
verbiage. Hey, one of the
Cool.
things we want to talk about customer success is how to convert more customers. Because when you're successful, hear what I'm doing. I'm kind of weaving it in.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah.
sense. Put it in there. It lets YouTube know, okay, that's exactly what this is about. So these are the videos. These people might be interested in that.
Hmm. I'm going to throw in one more example I want to look at just because of how you were talking about how to build titles for testimonial videos. This one has a couple different, let's not look at the thumbnails, just the titles like this one here. So these are all testimonials. What do you think of a title like this?
Um, it, I, it, I don't. It's just a lot. Online sales colon how caliber. I'd have to know they've sold this many memberships in 7 months through their website with RentsAid. I don't. Obviously, the company is with RentsAid, but I don't know what
Print,
caliber
yeah.
is. It's almost so. I think I don't think it works.
Just because it's too long?
It's just
And
it's too long, but I think it's so focused on them and not me. I'm looking at some of their others. How one company automated 90% of their ticket sales. Their amazing story. Oh, what? Okay. I mean, if that speaks to what they're in.
Right. It's so interesting that it's again, we're talking about YouTube specifically. This may not apply in other places, but for this place, it's like the customer, unless it's Disney or a 500, Fortune 500 brand, uh, it's better to simplify and talk in more generality so that any company that could imagine themselves in that shoe, and you're going to see, okay, oh, I want to be able to accomplish that. You're
Yeah.
suggesting that's a better title.
Yeah, I mean, here's something anybody can do. Go to Google News, go to Yahoo News, go to, something like that and just start scrolling and see what headlines catch your attention. And a lot of times
Hmm.
they're vague, but vague enough that you go, oh, kind of interested in that. Or, if it's about wrestling, I don't watch wrestling, I scroll on by. But if I'm into editing and I see, this guy makes 100,000 a year editing in his sleep, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, how does he do that? As opposed to find out how AI tool blank. You see what it's like? Okay, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. But again, you
Hmm.
can name it one thing for YouTube. You can name it one thing for your blog post. You can name it one thing for your podcast.
Yeah.
It's a little different. But you're right. We're talking about YouTube. I think too
YouTube
often
specifically.
businesses,
Yeah.
and this is tough. It's just you get so close to your own product, and you've got to think of the viewer and the sea of people you're competing against by just the scroll.
Yeah.
You know,
That's an excellent point to consider. Of if you want these videos to perform well on YouTube, you need to potentially think about them differently than
yeah,
if you'd be posting them on your website or putting them on a different channel. You have to think about the viewer. What would interest the viewer, not
yeah.
necessarily our company or our clients, but the viewer.
Yeah, and there's so many
Love it.
ways you could do that. You could look at other leaders in your industry and see what's working for them, sort by popular, and just see what's worked, what catches your attention.
Hmm.
But I also encourage people to go outside of their niche and their business and look at other topics, if you will, and see what's kind of popping there, because you can borrow that as well. Just because you're a software company, you can look at an outdoor channel and go, oh, okay, I kind of see what they're doing here. And it may apply, it may not apply, but it's good to learn that way. And it still has to fit your brand and things like that. But
Hmm.
again, this is all
Yeah.
about getting people to click and watch so then they do something.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap up and talk about kind of recap our whole conversation. Let's start with the thumbnail. What are the key elements or pieces of that make a great thumbnail?
You have to think small, even if you design big. So you have to really think about what pops small. I know people get off on brand colors and their logos and things like that. Does it really matter? I mean, you can talk about Disney without showing a Disney logo, right? I mean, they've got so many iconic things. So if your business is based around a city, maybe it's some landmarks or something like that. Colors, think of colors that really get your attention. Moods, emotion, showing that in there. Text on thumbnail is not a bad thing, but you don't want it to look like a billboard on the side of the highway. So it can complement it. It can add a separate from it. It can complete a thought, why you're not making any sales. And then the thumbnail says, and what to do about it. Oh, okay. But then you show a guy that's sitting there, with like no calls or whatever. So it can complement that. So
Interesting.
think clean and clarity. Don't get too cute. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't crowd it, and just make everything make sense. But however you design it, even if you have somebody sending it to you, always look at it small to see if it's readable.
That's probably one of the biggest takeaways that you just described, and through our discussion here of the thumbnail, and if you're gonna have text on it, can be different from the title. Actually, it's
Absolutely.
better if it is different because it works in tangent together, the two of them. So
Yeah.
that is powerful. I,
And
I,
it
I
can
have a fault.
restate it. It can completely
Mm,
restate it in a different way. And it doesn't have to be, like how to grow a software business in 2024. Maybe the thumbnail says, grow your software business. What it didn't say, it's okay, it's fine, you'll be okay. and then
Yeah.
get my attention.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Another concept of we've looked at a bunch of different styles. We actually didn't look at Mr. Beast, but he has a very unique style. None of, has no text on any of them. They're all only his face, and then lots of imagery, like you've talked
Right.
about before, to describe what his content is. Then we have more TED Talk style, which is the person and the text, and it's very clean, very simple. And then I feel like there's people that are in the middle, like maybe Gary Vee or maybe HubSpot or something, where they start to combine some imagery and some text. I mean, why would you have one style over another? I imagine my first thought is maybe you're just company branding, but what's your thoughts?
Well, it could be. I mean, if you break them all down, I mean, thumbnails tell a story. I mean, it's like a movie poster. It's like, I mean, actually, let's not talk about movie posters. Let's talk about books. It's like a book cover. It's like it's like the thumbnails you see on, Netflix and stuff like that. You want to like, oh, so it tells some kind of story. If you look at Mr. Beast, what I would take away from that is something visually in the background tells a story. I mean, he did a video not too long ago, stranded in an abandoned mall for 30 days or something like that, abandoned city. And so you see him like he's got a backpack, he looks like he hasn't shaved, and the background looks like just this decrepit thing out of The Walking Dead or something. And there we go. Now look at that. And there is text on there, but if you notice, the title is I Survived 7 Days in, Day 5. Ooh, so now there's a little intrigue. So again, that tells a story in there. Look at the one before that. Scroll back up. Stop this train, win a Lamborghini. Okay, it's about to hit him. And it's not just a regular train. That looks like something out of Mad Max. Now, again, this may not fit your business, but it's a great example of how
This
he's
would be the
telling
extreme of what you
yeah,
can
he's
do.
telling a story in there. Period.
Yeah. So
Um,
if your company branding allows you the flexibility, this is what you want to reach towards,
yeah,
and then you just
yeah,
work your way back of what you're capable of.
yeah.
All right, so
And the
we've talked a lot.
emotion, the facial emotion matches the tone,
Oh,
probably of the video,
mm-hmm.
definitely of the title.
Yeah,
Even though he's gone to more smiling and stuff like that.
yeah. Okay, we've talked lots about thumbnails. Let's talk about the title. What makes a great title, a YouTube title?
There's a lot of things. One is, does it have does it have a phrase that maybe people are looking for? It doesn't have to be exact, but it could be close so that when that's popping in search and coming up, they're like, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. You can be abstract and kind of playful. I did a video right after Canon announced they were going to discontinue one of their most popular lines. And my thumbnail was a picture of a Canon camera that had discontinued over it. And the thumbnail was Canon finally did it. Because I wanted to lean into the curiosity. Now, people don't like Canon, they're not into cameras and stuff like that. I knew they wouldn't click. Now, what happened to that video is it like blew up over the weekend, but because it was kind of a trending topic, it kind of flattened out and it's just, it hasn't done anything after that. But I knew that, right? I could have titled it, Canon discontinues their most popular line, the M series. See what I think about it. Okay, who cares? So there's different ways of doing it. So I think a title can be intriguing. I think if we talked earlier about front loading the most important thing. So I did a video about Final Cut Pro running slow. And so it said, because I knew people had problems with it, how do I speed up this editing program? And so I put Final Cut Pro slow ? So if you're having that issue, and then on the back end I told you I was going to give you 7 ways to speed it up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So even if you're doing an interview, if you're selling something or whatever, you can front load that important thing. There's only so many characters that show up anyway, and there's fewer on mobile. So, kind of a little tip is when you title it, you can go ahead and publish it if you want, but look at it on mobile and see what it looks like. Now, you can get so chintzy on the titles that they don't make any sense. And that's the other thing too is, have them read. If it's just like, SaaS, software, better business, money, CEOs, like what the heck? Did somebody like have a seizure when they were typing that out? That doesn't even make any sense. Get that person some medicine. No. So you want it to read something. You can go long. I mean, there's a certain number of characters. There's some teachers that say, don't write anything that's going to be cut off. I've heard other ones like kind of get it down to a science where, it's kind of like the read more. They get it to a point where the cutoff may be enticing. Here's the biggest takeaway.
Give them time,
all right?
and energy.
Yeah, is make it what the video is about.
Mm-hmm.
If your video is about how our, this new banking app can save you $1,000 a month, then somewhere in that video, you better back that up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Better. And you can make a bold claim in there as long as you can. You can say best and easy and free and simple and tips and tutorial. Amazing. Think of those words that get your attention, that get you to click on the blog, watch the video. That is the power of the titles. And again, you can always change it. You can always, I've done that. I've released a video and then thought later, oh, you know what? And I've retitled something. And then all of a sudden it's like, dang it, now it's a lot clearer.
When it comes to like specific types of business videos, imagine people putting on, whether they are product videos, they're expert videos, thought leadership videos, or they're testimonial videos like the ones we looked at. I think that key one is writing that first part that any of your target viewer would be interested. It's not about you. It's not about the customer that you're talking about. It's not the interview. It's not about the people that are in the video. If you want that, put that in the description or put it at the end of your long title. But the beginning, it needs to be about what's the viewer interested in, very plain, easy to understand language.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you were doing a video on Disney losing half its value or whatever, you could, I mean, maybe it's got even Bob, and let's say this is attuned a little bit more to businesses and industries. You could have Bob Iger on there, who's the CEO. You could have the Magic Kingdom, but you could also tint it where the Magic Kingdom looks like maybe it's dark or something. And then the title says why the happiest place on earth is now a lot sadder. / Disney CEO is ready to bolt. You see what I mean? Depending on the video, and you're like, okay, dang, now what the heck is going on with the Magic Kingdom? Why the Magic Kingdom has lost its magic or lost its mojo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Disney executive. This is a big trick in the YouTube world. YouTube executive shares secrets. It's usually always the same guy, but still. YouTube insider shares. See what I mean?
So let's talk about description now. What makes a great description? We've looked at a lot of different ones now, the different samples and stuff. What do you think needs to be in there, and what order?
I think this is a good place if you have keywords you're trying to rank for, and keywords can be long-term, long tail rather, where they're different things or things that people are interested in that, again, reflects the video. What I wouldn't do is you've got two people sitting down and talking about some new product and how it's really going to be amazing. I still want to see the benefit of this. I would keep it shorter rather than longer. It's not a blog post. It's YouTube. We joked earlier, it's not you read, it's YouTube. But I would capsulate it. Sometimes this is where AI can come in really handy, or good copywriters say, okay, here's the interview, here's the video, write me a 2-sentence, description that accurately reflects that and has these keywords in there. That's what I would do. And I would eliminate everything else. I don't need, hang on, excuse me, you have to edit that out. I don't need the key takeaways in the video, which are not the same as the chapters, completely different. The chapters are things I can click on to watch specific things or more or whatever. And I've seen that work in long form videos and interviews, especially interviews. where they may be an hour, 45 minutes, hour and a half. If somebody's interviewing Dave Ramsey, they probably want to do that because he might cover so many. He may talk about his backstory. He may talk about banking this or home or whatever. And so it's like, well, even if you like Dave Ramsey, you're going to sit there for an hour and a half. That would be something in there. So just give me the meat in the description and stack it as you might stack the video in terms of what's most important, thinking if I don't get through the description. Here's the kicker. You can if you do timestamps and chapters, put them at the very end because they're going to show up in the video as clickable anyway. Once you add them, and we looked at that example, it almost like it breaks it up in the video. So it's not like people have to go there, and then there's the view all, so it actually appears beside the video or under it as chapters. So you can bury it in the description to get your most important things over there. I've done that actually on videos. I've gone back and added some things to my description and moved the chapters down just because I needed you to see this first, whether it was an offer or something else.
Mm-hmm. But having those chapters we've already talked about, is quite beneficial, both for the viewer if they want to get it, but you don't want to give away, so they don't want to watch it, but rather intrigue them, but also for SEO, so that it shows up in Google searches and other places. It helps in that effort. Yeah.
I mean, it's a trade-off because potentially somebody can go there and just watch that one episode. We'll go back to the Dave Ramsey episode, and let's say he talks about it. He talks about everything. And then at one point he talks about the housing crisis, and that's all you're interested in. So you click there, you watch that 2 or 3 minute piece, and then you leave. Well, that doesn't help you that much in the YouTube, but that's one person. Or you go, well, wait a minute, I want to serve the viewer because we talked about so much. So here are all the things we talked about. And then it's just kind of that. And that's one way to look at it as well, that you go with the chance that people may bounce after a short time versus I'm giving you more reason to stick around. What I would say is try it. Just try it. See what works for you. Look at your analytics. It will take a little time. You don't have to get overly, creative with it, but you could think of each one of those chapters as an individual video based on what you say. Go back to the Dave Ramsey. One could be, and this is going to sound so stupid if people don't use it. Dave Ramsey predicts the next recession. Dave Ramsey talks about the housing crisis. You see what I'm going with that? And you go, well, Kevin, the video is with Dave Ramsey. Right. But the chapters can actually show up, and people are looking for those. And remember, go back to Google. And so every time
Dave Ramsey has a title and name that people would search for, are interested in. You could replace that with whatever terminology that people want. But that's powerful to think of them inside.
But I wouldn't do it for your business name like Salesforce. Salesforce tells you how to save money. Salesforce does this. And you could.
But we're looking at why people, what are people searching for? And they're probably not interested in exactly what your company's doing. It's more like what's going to help my business. Unless you have some amazing thought leader in your business, you put your thought leader's name in there if people are searching for that person.
And keep in mind too, the chapters serve a purpose. So it's not all bad, but when you add the chapters, it's automatically going to trigger other things in the video, the way the video plays on YouTube. Like I said, you'll see them underneath or to the side. So they may never, ever open your description, but you're okay with that because now they can click the chapters and watch more.
This has been amazing, Kevin. We've covered so much in this topic and looking at all these different examples and videos. For those that have been are joined us maybe on our full-length video or are curious now to know more about Kevin, I'm going to give you a little description of bio here at the end and introduce him. He's a solo creator, coach, a video producer, and consultant who's spent over 30 years in TV, aka what he calls traditional media, well, we all know that, before going all in on digital media, specifically YouTube. After TV, he started his own video marketing business, Kevin Kolbe Media LLC, and focused entirely on the world of digital media. He's worked at places like Fox, CBS, NBC, ABC, all the acronyms, all those affiliated stations, including over 14 years as the creative director for one of the most recognized Fox stations in the country. So you've worked with tons of people, small brands, large companies, enterprises, nonprofits all around the world, and you are, okay, you don't like the word expert, YouTube expert, but you are an amazing consultant and one who understands and is actively practicing YouTube. So thank you so much, Kevin, for being on and sharing your wisdom with us.
Absolutely. I had a blast. I love doing this because I learned from it too. I mean, that's the only way to get out there is just check things. I may go back and change some of my titles now after this. Who knows?
Where can people go to learn more about you and connect with you?
My website is kevinkolbe.com. That's probably the best place. And online, where I produce almost everything is YouTube at Kevin Kolbe.
Thanks for your time, Kevin. Appreciate it, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.